Rick Barnes says the NCAA tournament and the results that he's had in his career bother him. What was the quote on Ball Calls, Caleb?
So Rick Barnes said, the one thing I have always said is that the NCAA tournament, I wish our teams would have done better. It bothers me to no end. Just straight up said it. That he gets bothered by how poorly they play in the NCAA tournament. And very honest, very not coach speak, because, coach speak is always like, I remember when Calipari won his national title, he's like, I don't think about that. I just look out for our players. Shut up. You wanted the national title, Calipari. Stop lying to me. Okay, so I think Rick, this was an honest, very honest quote by Rick Barnes, and I got to give him credit for it.
I do too. The worst thing you could come out and say is that it's a tournament sport and we like to consider ourselves a whole basketball program and we're going to win as many games as we can as if they're in the tournament or not. And sometimes the ball doesn't bounce your way. That would be the worst thing you could say, right?
It would. But Dave, I have a question.
Yes.
I actually have a genuine question. We're talking about, we try to put science behind this. Oh, he practices his teams too hard. He has philosophy, yada, yada, yada. If he had said that, though, could he have a point? Could this whole tournament be about how the ball bounces, period, in the story? And are we making way too much analysis out of it?
Yes, certainly. I mean, it's a one-game elimination sport. I mean, you don't have that in all of the other big sports except for football. And in football, I think the better team wins probably 80 to 90%
more often than in other sports, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So you don't
I think it's less in the NFL because of how evenly matched NFL teams are. But yeah, in college, 80 to 90%.
I agree. Hemp House, the premier hemp dispensary online with a wide variety, great selection, and strict standards to ensure you only receive the best in CBD or Delta products. Go to hemphousechat2ts.com. Hemphousechat2ts.com. Use the promo code HOOKED. Use the promo code HOOKED for 10% off. Now, I wrote that two things can happen in this tournament that changes Rick Barnes and his legacy forever. Number one, they make it to the Final Four. That's two Final Fours. That's multiple Final Fours. And in some ways, because of hot shooting nights and what we just discussed, because you can get knocked out after one game, I think that making the Final Four somewhat analogous to winning the national championship in football, just making the Final Four, at least in my mind. So if he makes two Final Fours, that's a different legacy. Bam. If he wins the whole kit and caboodle, then hello legacy. I'm one of the best coaches in the history of the game, but I'm talking about top 30, 40, somewhere in that regard. He wouldn't be elite like a Krzyzewski or even a Dean Smith or Bill Self, but he would be in that second tier if he wins a championship.
He would, and not Dean Smith or Krzyzewski or even Roy Williams, but I think certainly more than Bill Self or Jim Calhoun. I think Rick Barnes would command a level of respect with the national title as a coach, where he could be almost a dean of college basketball. One of those people that like an authority figure that people want to hear what he has to say. Because I think Rick Barnes, and we talk about attaching altruism to people. I genuinely don't like projecting altruism onto people because I think everybody's got nefarious motives for themselves, particularly in college sports when you're coaching and playing. I think you're looking out for yourself. I probably project more altruism onto Rick Barnes than I do anybody else who's ever coached in college sports. I don't think there's a better person to ever be a head coach in college athletics than Rick Barnes with this level of success. I think his character is even greater than Nick Saban's or Gene Stallings, who are two of the greatest character guys in football, I think.
Congratulations to Travis. It's Heath Schuler.
That's not a skill position player.
Yeah,
it's a quarterback.
Quarterback skill position to me.
I consider like receiver, defensive back, or running back skill position, but I guess quarterback is a skill position. But like, I never processed it that way.
Potato. But that may have thrown you off. But good job, Travis. Email me. I'll get you one of those NCAA T-shirts that are about to go to print. But Yeah, can you imagine Heath Schuler going up in little North Carolina where they haven't seen an athlete like him in forever, and he goes up there and breaks a backboard, and you're like, that guy's a sophomore? I still say he could have won the decathlon, and I texted him that last night. I was like, you realize you should have been the decathlete. I mean, you could have been the next Bruce Jenner without the change.
Well, and by the way, for those asking, because this segment will be cut, we were asking who was the only Tennessee player he's never filled out he played football, never filled out a bracket, and broke a backboard in high school as a sophomore.
I didn't
And
throw off the
it's
flow
Heath
too
Schuler.
bad, did I there? Or did I?
When this is recut for our YouTube, that's Dave's going to go, congratulations, Travis, it's Heath Schuler. And everybody's going to be like, what? What's Heath Schuler? And
Well, I thought we had enough time in on that topic. That's my bad. But I think we did. You tell me. Quality Tire Pro, the Eberle family has been serving Chattanooga since 1957. All major brands of tires, full service automotive brakes, alignments, oil changes, and more. All you got to do is say, hey, Bo, and they would certainly appreciate hearing from you. Also, we thank Varner Ford there in Clinton. Local selection that you can trust, innovation that you can afford. And so now that Caleb's done being mad at me because a little bit more editing, and I think when he sees the actual time, I think we're going to be good because we try to provide a little synopsis, a little snips here that you can listen on the go. So be sure and hit those notifications and get those on, and hit the like and subscribe button so you know when they are going up.